Right. So with the move to IP and open standards and other kind of technology developments, we're seeing. Sorry, let's stay on that slide for a second. We're seeing more and more vendors shift the into the development of converged platforms. So, what do we mean by that? We mean platforms that support a variety of different communications and collaboration solutions and also include contact center capabilities as well as flexible APIs. We talk a lot about CPaaS, but CPaaS is really kind of the transactional model that we associate with Twilio and with Nexmo and some other very specialized CPaaS providers. When we talk about the platform approach today, we're really talking about the APIs and the ability of cloud platforms to not only adapt to new developments within the industry by kind of allowing the vendor to build more capabilities on the platform, but also integrate with a variety of third-party solutions. So one of the most common integrations, whether natively on the platform or with third-party solutions, is the integration of unified communications or UCaaS in a cloud version and contact center or CCaaS in its cloud version. So let's move to the next slide to show the data on how decision makers, specifically in contact center, this is from a contact center survey, how decision makers in contact center see the importance of integrated UCaaS and CCaaS. As you can see here, 24% think of it as extremely important, and more than half think of it as very important. So that's pretty much, three quarters. That's pretty much everybody out there that thinks it's important. Why is this relevant to this conversation? If you're a service provider, again, this is an opportunity to upsell and cross-sell customers, to have a conversation, not just about elevating the kind of enterprise worker communications and collaboration capabilities, but enabling the contact center agents to work more productively, and even more importantly, integrate these kind of historically siloed worker demographics into a more cohesive whole, and align everybody along the customer journey to support a better, more frictionless customer journey. So let's move to the next slide to see where customers see the specific benefits of integrated UCaaS and CCaaS. Well, at the top of the list, and I think we asked them here to select the top three, so they kind of had to pick which are the top three of everything that we listed. Call routing across enterprise users and agents tops the list because you want to make sure that agents can transfer calls to enterprise users to leverage their expertise and vice versa. And you want to make sure that the organization is tied together. But there is a focus also on the user experience. So if you have an integrated user interface, specifically, let's say, a contact center agent interface, where they can, manage their internal and external communications from the same client, that makes them more productive and gives them the opportunity to collaborate internally and better address customer issues. Now, composability next on this list is when you can actually combine in a modular fashion features typically provided to enterprise users with features typically provided to agents to enable some kind of unique personas within the organization that need this special blend of capabilities. And this could be the internal help desk people, these could be the sales people who need to collaborate internally and externally and on a variety of different levels. So there are multiple factors that are driving customer interest in integrated UCaaS and CCaaS. I'm not going to lie to you. This is not happening overnight. I don't want you to be discouraged when you approach customer organizations and they're not immediately jumping on the bandwagon. You're probably very familiar with some of the barriers to this kind of adoption of integrated solutions, especially in larger organizations. There's siloed decision making still. There are various solutions, in contact center and enterprise that are at different stages of their life cycle. So to align the upgrades across these different solutions, you kind of need to be patient and work consultatively with the customer organizations to achieve the results. Now let's talk about the APIs. Once again, they seem like a great enabler for many organizations to customize features and to integrate with the third-party solutions. Where do customers see the top benefits? The largest percentage of our respondents believe that APIs will allow them to enhance office worker productivity. Further below, 28% also believe that they can address frontline worker needs. So the spread is not that big. The important thing is that customers are looking to achieve a lot of different objectives. And second to, from the top is the ability to automate workflows. I think this is the key. This is where you can see a lot of operational efficiencies within the organization.
Great. Thanks, Elke. And on that last slide, sometimes when we talk about enterprise workers and contact workers, sometimes I get customers that look at me and go, what do you mean? So you think about somebody calling in, and just to make sure you agree with this statement, somebody calling into a company for support or whatever, an agent that is talking to that customer, supporting them. A lot of organizations are focused on first call resolution, solving the customer's problem as quickly as possible, but they realize the expert that they need to have help that customer is maybe somebody in the purchasing department or in the payables department or in the accounting department. So they're not people that are agents within that contact center. They're just other users in the company. And that's just the ability to easily hand off that customer interaction to that appropriate stakeholder so they can resolve the problem, right?
Yes, this is the ultimate objective here.
Yeah, and as you look at it, it starts from, when we talk about ways, of course, now my screen sharing's not working again, so I'll stop and restart it. You look at the ways that, that our platform can help play into that trend. Let me just get here. Catch us back up. Is one of the areas that we're talking a little bit more about AI in the next section and use cases, but just within that contact center, it is taking customers and giving them everything from the ability to do self-service basically on a company's website, all the way through the different ways they may want to interact, like through email, through web chat, through SMS, whatever it is, but the ability then to talk to a human or escalate that if needed and hand that off to somebody else. And that's what we call that, omni-channel conversational AI contact center, and the ability to support that. So that's the kind of interactions we're talking about. And that's the kind of interactions that we can support with the NetSapiens platform. Elke talked a little bit in that second slide about the CPaaS capabilities, or basically communications platform as a service. Some of us used to call that composable communications, or other. There's been several terms for it, but it's just the ability to take parts of a solution through APIs and adapt that to specific customer use cases. I mean, when you think about, even calling the Uber driver in the app and having your caller ID and their number masked and shielded, or the ability to just perform a function that can turn into a broader interaction. And that's we have recently with the NetSapiens platform released our API 2.0 initiative, which is actually taking our APIs and making them much easier for our partners to work with, so that they can talk to specific customers. Because in this area, a lot of what companies end up adopting is what I would call something that's purpose built for them. They have a specific need or requirement, and they have a use case for their constituents, the people that they deal with, that they need to be able to accomplish. And so it's just giving them the APIs within a communications application in order to be able to deliver on that promise of a better customer experience for the people that they deal with within their organization. So it's just taking a lot of the tech talk down to how does that really help or benefit somebody, and it's really just giving them the small ways to interact with a company that can then escalate into a broader interaction or support experience for them.
John, we have a question about APIs. Do you think we want to address it before we move on to AI?
Sure, why not?
Were you able to determine if most customers who see the benefits of API integration would provide their developers, or do they need access to developers through the service provider as a professional service? I'll address it to the best
Sure.
of my abilities, and then you can jump in. I think it depends, and I know that sounds like a very kind of evasive answer, but I believe when we talk about APIs, first of all, I see it as an enabling capability for the vendor or service provider itself to customize. And sometimes that customization may lead to some productized, um, either vertical specific or persona specific capabilities. So in other words, the APIs are just a tool for kind of internal development within the service provider or vendor organization. When it comes to customers, I think the smaller organizations typically don't have the developer capabilities, so they would very much look for their partner to assist them in that, in customizing or otherwise using the APIs for whatever purposes. The trouble is they also don't have the budget for um, uh, high ticket professional services. But when we look at these scenarios, that's where low code, no code development comes into play. I think with larger organizations, there's usually a significant pool of developers that can take over and do these kind of integrations internally, but may also work hand in hand with the provider. Do you have any kind of ratio of how it works out in your deployments, John?
Yeah, I would say from my experience, they do fall into those three buckets. So it's customers who have the capabilities to do it themselves, third-party developers that do it on behalf of customers, or like you said, the smaller ones that maybe have a vision of what they want to have done, but it's the service providers, professional services, or somebody else that builds that for them. And then what I've seen with a lot of our NetSapiens partners that have developed the expertise to kind of build those applications for customers, they'll do that, and then they'll make that same application repeatable across many customers, like you said, after verticals or use cases. There's quite a few that come to mind. We've got, one of the things that's really become an annoyance in the US is the registration for the 10DLC program for people that are using VoIP numbers to be able to send SMS, do that. Some of our partners have built simple applications and widgets that customers can go through to take care of that process for them. So it kind of falls into those areas. And I think it is true that it goes small to large. At the lower end of the smaller customers tend to be more wanting their partner to help them out, or the service provider they're getting the solution from. And then as you go into medium and large size, they're more likely to work with companies that do that, or have their own group of developers that take those APIs. That's why Elka, for us, part of our API 2.0 release was doing a much better job of adopting open standards for the way people work with our APIs, and doing a much better job of documentation of working with those APIs. So, understanding there's a developer community that maybe doesn't have their PhD in the NetSapiens platform, but they're really good at building applications. We want to give them the ability to just get their GED in our platform and be able to build things for customers that add value. So I think your assessment was very spot on.